Hello, folks. Welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports, reporting once again another cynical action by the corrupt Biden regime. What's this one about? It's about the abrogation of moral responsibility to repay one's debts. When you borrow money, you have an obligation to return it to the people from whom you borrowed it. Now, a little known, not so much secret, well, apparently to members of the Senate Banking Committee, it was a secret. Remember a couple of years ago when Democrats on the committee tried to castigate Jamie Dimon and other banking executives saying, Mr. Dimon, how much money have you made from student loans this year? Trying to portray them as greedy bankers, to which the response was nothing. The apoplectic look from the Democratic members of the committee, how could you make nothing on student loans? The answer is quite simple. For those not paying attention, during the corrupt regime of Barack Hussein Obama, the federal government stole the federal student loan program and took it over in its entirety. What does that mean? Well, when I borrowed money to go to university in the early 1980s, the federal government, because of my low income status, guaranteed repayment of the loan. So the loan was made by a private bank on the guarantee that they would always get their money back, which meant it was supposed to be a lower interest rate. But of course, I had the misfortune of going to university in the midst of the Carter-inspired recession that we were trying to get out of when Reagan came in office. And as a consequence, my student loan, unlike the whiny little babies today who get less than 3% or better on student loans, my student loan was at 9% annual percentage rate. 9%. Yeah, so I took my student loan out through Equitable Federal Savings and Loan in Lancaster, Ohio, guaranteed by the federal government, which, by the way, took over $300 of a $2,500 loan out of my pocket. I didn't get $2,500. The federal government took the money as a fee because they guaranteed it. Now, of course, I paid my loan back. I'm not one of those deadbeats. But the point is that that was a federal student loan program that was meant for low-income Americans to level the playing field so that those of us who didn't have the resources could still have the opportunity to attend university and pay for our expenses and our tuition. But in an effort to increase the program, and I think secretly, this is all about collapsing our financial system, destroying our currency, and resetting our economy to a socialist paradigm with digital currency and total control of your actions. You know, for instance, if you go to the pump, you put your card in or you scan your phone and you start pumping gas, and all of a sudden after 2 gallons, it stops because you've exceeded your carbon credits from your social score, which, by the way, is being field tested by the U.S. government now. They're actually testing social credit scores, a communist idea. But back to the student loans. So that's how the student loan program was run until Barack Hussein Obama stole it. Of course, he was colluded with by a corrupt Congress as well. And now the federal government owns the program. They owned the program before, but they didn't loan the money. Private banks and credit unions loaned the money. It was just guaranteed by the federal government. And if you defaulted, the federal government went after you and they paid off the loan. That's how it worked. And it worked brilliantly for decades. But no, Barack Hussein Obama, in an effort to destroy our currency and also for his so-called racial equity garbage, in other words, his racist agenda, expanded the federal student loan program so that almost anybody could qualify for it, not just those in need. And as a consequence, people gorged on debt, cheap debt. And now they want a free ride after buying their iPhones and their lattes and buying cars and smoking weed and going to parties and sometimes paying for tuition and room and board. They want a free ride. Yeah, some of you are going to take exception to what I said there, but you know damn well a lot of that money was spent in that fashion, not for tuition, not for room and board, not for books, lab fees. So now we want a free ride. Well, that free ride isn't free. The Congressional Budget Office said, the CBO said that it would cost over $400 billion to relieve this student loan. Never mind the moral responsibility to pay back your debt and the abrogation of that moral responsibility. Now what comes next? People want free money to pay for their child care. People want their mortgage to be forgiven. Who pays for that? We do. And we can't pay for it. We don't have the money. $31.3 trillion deficit. Federal level alone. Never mind unfunded pension liabilities. Never mind debt from corporations. Never mind consumer debt and mortgage debt, which dwarfs all that. $31 trillion or state, local, municipal debt. The amount of money we now owe is approaching $200 trillion. It's an unfathomable figure in an economy that's less than $30 trillion per year. We could take every penny of the national wealth each year generated by this country, and it would take 6 or 7 years just to pay off the debt. We'd all starve by then, of course. This is ridiculous. So what's going on now? Well, now they want to forgive it, but here's a dirty little secret which they're not sharing with anybody. It's not for everyone. Now, why is that? And the reason I tell you the whole story about how loans were done and how they're done now is because that plays into this. Joe Biden announces great fanfare and action, which he doesn't have legal authority to do, by the way. This is unconstitutional, just like Barack Hussein Obama's DACA program, which was just overturned by federal judges. This is unconstitutional. He has no authority to do this, to simply grant debt relief. There is no authority to do that whatsoever in his writ as the president. So, in a shocking reversal that's going to affect the fortunes of many student loan borrowers, the U.S. Department of Education has quietly changed its guidance around who qualifies for Biden's immoral debt relief plan. Borrowers who took out federal student loans many years ago, both Perkins loans and the Family Federal Education loans, issued and managed by private banks, but guaranteed by the federal government, which I just talked about, were once the mainstay of the federal program. No, they were the program, not the mainstay. They were the program until 2010 during Barack Hussein Obama's administration, when the government stole the program. More than 4 million borrowers still have commercially held loans. Until this past week, the department's own website advised these borrowers that they could consolidate those loans into federal direct loans from us, the taxpayer, and qualify for relief. But on the 29th of September, the department quietly changed the language. The guidance now says, as of September 29th, borrowers with federal student loans not held by the Education Department cannot obtain one-time debt relief by consolidating these loans into direct loans. That affects already immediately 800,000 borrowers, plus another 1.5 million. It's unbelievable. This is all election pandering at a huge cost. And ultimately, it's not about the election pandering. It's about stealing elections in the future. And it's more importantly about permanent political power for a corrupt group of socialists and communists who want to destroy this country. They want to destroy our currency by destroying us with debt we cannot service. The only thing in the Constitution that we're required to pay for is our debt. And they want to abrogate our Constitution. Just saw another leftist lunatic today talking about how the Electoral College is an antiquated concept. No, it's not, because we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. Grow up and learn about the country you live in, you idiots. Now, National Public Radio tries to carry the water, saying it's unclear why the department reversed the decision allowing federal student loan borrowers with commercially held loans not to consolidate. Well, many legal experts help them out, just like I can help you out. It's because they don't have the legal authority. It's unconstitutional. And banks and states' attorney generals will sue the federal government over this. Many legal experts tell National Public Radio the reversal in policy was likely made out of concern that private banks that manage the old loans could potentially file lawsuits to stop the debt relief, arguing it would cause them financial harm. And in fact, it would. If the government forgives that debt, just wipes it off, because forgiving isn't paying. The government just wipes the debt off and we lose all that money. Then the banks that hold those promissory notes will lose all that money. And that is a crime. But this is a rogue regime under Biden, yet another election ploy that's going to fail. So if you thought you're getting student debt relief, guess what? Up to 4 million of you aren't getting a penny. And none of you should get a penny. No one should get debt relief unless you serve in uniform and you qualify for the debt relief program, which is a limited amount of money anyway. Well, folks, as I said, some people might not like this video. Too bad. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for supporting it. Cheers.